Today I want to show you a 5-minute watercolor exercise for practicing realistic watercolor painting. Why I have apples?
Because it is a round subject.
Round subjects are one of the most common forms in painting, but how we can make this form appear realistic and three-dimensional? You need to master painting and drawing round subjects correctly so you can show flat subject on paper appear round and realistic to viewer's eye. In order to make flat subject appear with volume, we need to get correct tonal values, which are light, halftones, shadow area, and reflected light area. With my Patreon students, we made in-depth graphite pencil study of an apple for more deeper understanding of tonal values. However, this exercise for tonal values will be with watercolors.
I will paint 4 basic forms for the apples. For each apple color, I will spend only 5 minutes. You might ask, why so little time for each apple? Because we need to concentrate on the form, not on the details. And in order to do it productive, we need to set time limit. So we're not going too much into detailing.
Line drawings are done on all 4 pieces of paper. We will need ceramic palette and phone for checking time. For the first apple, I'm taking Sennelier Red. You can pick any other red pigment. It's not important the exact color tone, how just to use one pigment. Starting with watery layer on the whole surface of an apple and picking pigment starting from the shadow area. I have reference in front of me, looking for major tonal values. I'm not going into detail. Train your eye to look beyond the detail, beyond those spots, beyond those different color tones. When we are starting to paint, we need to see one color of the background, main color, on which all the details are built later during painting process. But this exercise is only for seeing tonal values, major tonal values, light, halftones, shadow, and reflected light area. Moving quite fast because I have a time limit. I'm not going into really detailed and realistic look of this apple. I'm only here for seeing and training my eye to see tonal values. Using one pigment, so I'm not worried about mixing the right color tone, the right saturation. I have one pigment in one consistency and applying while the surface is wet. This is a very good exercise to train your eye for seeing tonal values, keeping the light area light. I'm always leaving light area much wider than it appears in the reference. So after applying few layers, I will still have my light area. And by the finishing of a real painting, I will still have light at the same size that is in the reference. Always in the beginning leave wider, bigger space for light. We can always go darker, we can always paint something more, make something darker. It is the problem with watercolor painting to make something lighter. And nothing can be lighter than the paper itself. I'm not using any light pigment or white gouache to make my lightest parts. I'm only using paper as the whitest of the whites. Adding more darkness, as I see in my reference that the lowest part of an apple is darker. Adding halftones. And also using the same consistency of the pigment that I have, you see how I'm applying the same watercolors to the shadow area, and shadow area is becoming with each new layer darker. I'm not using any special shadow watercolor mix or any gray or some kind of other pigment to make something darker. The same pigment, only applied layer after layer, creates that particular space darker and darker with each new layer. It only can be done with yellow pigment. Yellow pigment is super transparent and it won't allow to layer and make something darker. It can be done almost with any other pigment except yellows. I still have time. I'm already happy with my tonal value study, and with Perlin Green I will add little details for the stem. In the last seconds, some extra layer, extra brush stroke, and we already see that the basic form, basic study of this apple already look three-dimensional and realistic. For the next apple, I will be using Ultramarine Blue watercolor pigment and will make a blue apple. I'm speeding up the process of painting these apples. Full tutorial is available on my Patreon from the beginning till the finishing touches, also apple graphite study and lots of other tutorials to try and paint with me. Exercise is done, all 4 apples are ready. They look three-dimensional, they have volume. Of course they are not like the reference, but that wasn't main goal for this painting practice. We were training eyes to see different tonal values and to make flat subject on the paper look realistic and with volume. 5-minute challenge is done.
How about you? If you found this video helpful, consider subscribing to my channel for more of watercolor tips and tricks and tutorials that are coming out each week. Bye. Thank you.